Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Carrie's Gardening Channel. So today is October the 7th, 2020, and what I wanted to talk to you about today is giving some tips on buying your fall bulbs. So you have your daffodils, your tulips, your hyacinths, crocuses, and a whole lot more different fall bulbs out right now for sale. So a few things you want to look for is you want to make sure on the bulbs that there's no mold or fungus growing on them. You want to make sure that they're nice and firm, that they're not squishy or rotting. Now that's hard to do when they have them like in boxes. When they have them in the bags with the air holes in, that's your best way, in my opinion, to go, because you can, kind of look at the bulbs through the mesh and see, what they look like. You also want to make sure that the bulbs don't look like they had any like rodents chewing on them or something like that, and that the bulb itself is free of defects. Like you don't want like bulbs with gashes in them or something like that. So that's a few things you want to look for when purchasing your fall bulbs. Now, you do want to get your bulbs planted before the ground freezes. And, daffodils, they're great for naturalizing. You can put them like in your woods, and you'll have the blooms in the springtime. And there's different types of daffodils that will give you a longer season, like some bloom early spring, some kind of go into the later spring, and then ones that bloom in between there. I did a lot of videos on my channel for spring blooming bulbs. You can see like the different flower beds that we have, and some of the daffodils and tulips and crocuses and hyacinths that are blooming in them. And on some of those, I do give the names of the varieties that we have. Now, if you go with like a replete daffodil, or a daffodil that's supposed to be like pink, depending on your growing climate, they can turn like a grapefruit pink or like an orange. So that is something that you want to take into consideration, that they can vary some from what the pack is showing for what they look like. Now, you also want to avoid bulbs that are already pre-sprouting. And the reason why that is, they're really not supposed to be coming up in the fall time. And even sometimes, like in beds that you already have, they'll start coming up early in the fall. And what actually happens is there's a few things that can cause this. One of the things that causes this is when the bulbs aren't planted deep enough, or so another thing that can make the bulbs sprout before they're supposed to is in the fall time, it starts getting cooler out, and then all of a sudden it warms up, and the bulbs think that spring has come early, and they start coming up. And I've had them do that for me for a few years, and it snows on them and they get frosted and frozen, but they still do bloom. It does damage the tops of the foliage. It's not really what you want to happen. So on your packs, it will tell you how deep to plant your bulbs, so that to help prevent that from happening. Now, I have had already where when the bulbs multiplied, they multiplied like on top of each other, and when I started digging, it was like one big thing of bulbs. So if you are separating your bulbs, please take that into consideration and kind of dig like a larger area out around them, so that you don't damage your bulbs when you're trying to take them out. Now, if you're planting crocuses, squirrels, chipmunks, they love to dig your crocus bulbs out, and they love to eat them. So I recommend, like, you can put like chicken wire or something over top of them when you plant them. They'll still come up through it, but it'll help prevent like the rodents from getting after them, because they'll plant your bulbs wherever they feel like planting them at, and you can lose a lot of crocuses that way, or wind up with crocuses where you really don't want them at. And we had one time, a squirrel or a chipmunk had planted it, and it came up very large stalk on a beautiful flower. It was one of the giant crocuses. And we tried to dig this thing out. We could never actually even get to the bulb. I have no clue how far down they even had it planted, but we could never find it. Broke the stalk off many times trying, but we just could never find the thing. And there are some crocuses that actually will bloom in the fall time. So, you can check the packs and see if, the variety that you're getting would be one of those. We have the giant crocuses, and then we have some of the other different types of crocuses. On your tulips, if you're planting tulip bulbs, tulips can require a little bit of extra care. And one thing you want to watch out for with tulips is what they call tulip fire, and it's a type of a Bortress blight from my understanding. There's no way to actually get rid of it that I've ever read or found, except for destroying the bulb and the plant itself. They've actually burned fields over in Holland years and years ago to try and get rid of tulip fire. If you're planting your tulips, a lot of the hybrid tulips, they last for a few years and then they can kind of start dwindling down. So perennial tulips are your best tulips for them to keep coming back for you. And sometimes you will get some of the hybrids that will keep coming back for you. Usually what happens is they can lose their genetics after a few years. So making sure that they get the food that they need, like the bone meal, and taking off the seed pod really can help your tulips to last longer. So bone meal is great for feeding your bulbs with. You can put it in your planting holes when you plant your bulbs. And I'll put a link down in the description for the bone meal that we use. And it's good to give them some food. The bulb itself has food in it, but it's good to, feed your bulbs to keep them going. So, I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope you get some beautiful spring colors for springtime coming. So if you like my video, please like, comment, subscribe. Please don't forget to hit the little notification button. It'll tell you as I put a new video on. You can also follow me on Twitter. I have a link down in the description for my Twitter account. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day. Bye!